You are living underneath a rock. If you don't know that at level 50 in Overwatch, you get a player title for every single hero in the game. Some of them are simply perfection, whilst others, man, they fucking suck. I'm here today to patch up the messy knitwork that Blizzard have made with these player titles. Let's make them all absolute perfection. I'm not gonna bother filling this commentary with nonsense. Let's just hop in alphabetical order, starting with Ana. Ana's current title is pretty cool, I can't lie, but it could be better. It's one of those titles that's cool, but only in theory. You know, it's not really cool to see someone with a Bastet title in game. So, simple alternative, Sniper. How about that? That's cool. That's very cool. Along a similar vein of that could be something like Sharpshooter. Reaching level 50 on a hero implies a certain level of skill anyways, but I feel as though it having an extended meaning which is slightly more threatening definitely does help with its cool factor, no doubt. Though some people prefer the complete opposite take to this. A more humorous take could be something like Mother. Imagine being legendary Mother at level 200. You'd absolutely love it. Ash is an easy one to improve on. The word outlaw is cool already. It's cool, but it could be replaced with a similar, better sounding word. Bandit. Bam. Easy. Bandit's a really cool sounding title. It could be something similar related to her organization as well. Perhaps even something as simple as just calling it Deadlock. That's lore based and it sounds cool. Not that I'm saying the Outlaw title is particularly terrible, but it could use some work. But definitely my favorite approach for this one, okay? Imagine the duo titles you can do with this, okay? Level 50 Ash, level 50 Cassidy, Cowgirl, Cowboy. Come on, you cannot top that. You cannot top that. Baptiste's current title isn't amazing with Renegade, but I feel as though it could be better. Reformed is the one that I would go for. It's very lore-based for Baptiste, but it also has a double meaning for the more toxic players of the community, which I feel could be humorous in some regard, and it also is lore-based, which is cool. Bastion's title, currently, is War Machine. Okay, that's a cool sounding title, but there are holes in this knitwork we could patch up. Instead of War Machine, how about Bullet Hell? That's a reference to a genre of games that people like. And it's also very fitting for Bastion, who's a character which is known to just spam as many bullets as possible. Or even something like Fortress. Fortress is a cool sounding one, which honestly you wouldn't necessarily expect for Bastion, but it definitely works. Brigitte is one that I definitely struggled with. It's not so easy to come up with an alternative for Brig, but I did manage to come up with two that I thought were worth sharing. Shield Maiden is the first one, which is a reference to what she is, and also the skin, Shield Maiden, for Brig. I feel like Shield Maiden is a better interpretation of what she is rather than a squire. As Brig is moving up in Overwatch, she wants to have more independence, and a Shield Maiden is definitely a title which executes that better than Squire. Or, how about we lean into one of her abilities and call her title Inspirer? Works as a player title even better than Squire. You could be a legendary Inspirer. How about that? How's that for inspiration? In my opinion, the worst case of missed opportunity lies with D.Va. D.Va's player title is completely lore-based with Mecha Ace, right? If you're a lore fan, sure, you could love this title. But if you're not someone that follows the lore to a T, then this title kind of blows bum. I can't even lie about it. I feel like D.Va deserves a title that's bordering on cringy and is video game related. We're talking gamer, pro gamer, player one, right? That sort of level of somewhat cringe, but it works so well for D.Va. I think the community would much prefer that over Mecha Ace anyway. For Doomfist, his current one is Mastermind, which is fun, and it fits him, but how about something more scary sounding? Conqueror. Good lord, that is frightful. Or something as simple as Gauntlet. I'm not as fond of Gauntlet, but it works. I mean, it gets the job done. I'm not personally fond of Echo's Reflection, but I know a lot of people are fond of that title. I personally would replace it with something like Clone. I think it gets the exact job done of the special parts about her kit, which is duplicating other heroes. Or how about a more lighthearted take to that? We go with Copycat, right? That's fun. You could be an epic copycat. That's a really fun title that I think people would enjoy a lot more than the current one. Freya was a difficult one to scheme for, but I managed to come up with 2 ideas I'm happy with. She's a huntress in the sky, right? What if it was Hawk? We have quite a lot of the animal titles in the game already, and I think they're super fun. Imagine having a team full of animal-based titles with Freya added in that mix with the Hawk title. Or perhaps a more light-hearted take to it, a funnier gesture, Stalker. Stalker's scary, Stalker's creepy, but it makes sense for the character. Genji is a situation where it's like, did a 13-year-old name this, or what is going on here? Just split it up, and it would have been fine. Not Cyber Ninja, Cyborg. Not Cyber Ninja, Ninja. One or the other. Doesn't need to be doing you're doing too much. You're doing way too much with the whole Cyber Ninja thing. Hanzo's is cool, but I feel like since Genji's doesn't link in with this, Hanzo's should link into the main thing that ties them together. His title could literally be Dragon. Fitting in once again with that animal theme I had previously mentioned, Dragon's a cool sounding title. You could be Legendary Dragon. Hazard. Once again an animal title, just so conveniently next to each other. He shoots spines out of his back. What animal does that? A motherfucking porcupine. Come on. A simple fix for Iari's title would be to just cut out the warrior part. Inti is just fine. A lot of people would be like, what is Inti? But a lot of people are already like, what the hell is Inti Warrior? Inti Warrior implies that you are a warrior that serves a sun god. Inti implies you are the motherfucking sun god. That's way cooler. And hey, speaking of that, if you wanted to simplify it further, sun god. Or goddess, if you really wish. Junker Queen is cool. I think having Queen is lighthearted and cool in both regards, so if I had to change it, I would probably lean into the other aspects of her kit. I'd call her something like Gladiator, which obviously is very linked to her kit, and also linked to her in the lore. And I think Queen is great, but also something the opposite way works as well. Something along the lines of Tyrant, I think works very well for the character. Junkrat is an animal one. Rat is very fun. It's great, so it was very difficult to improve upon that. I decided to take a very different approach to how the current one is, and it's about his explosiveness. 2 title examples here. You have Dynamite. Imagine being an epic Dynamite, legendary Dynamite for reaching level whatever Junkrat. I think that's pretty fun. It's lighthearted, but also a more serious yet lighthearted in the same way approach would be Arsonist, someone who wishes to set things on fire all the time. That's definitely Junkrat if it had to be one. Juno's current title was Martian. Martian works very well for Juno. But we could simplify it further, and it would still be pretty cool with Alien. I think to have the Alien title would be very, very funny, and also very fitting for the character. Kiriko. Let's simplify it instead of yokai, which she is not, by the way. There's nothing demonic about Kiriko, so that title is false. How about Kitsune? Similar to her ultimate and the little pet she carries with her. Or perhaps even Dagger. Another annoying, irritating part about her kit, which hey, she's infamous for. Lifeweaver could be something more on the serious end with something like Botanist, right? A scientist who works with plants. But it also could take a more comedic approach, something like Farmer. You could be Legendary Farmer, Heroic Farmer. And I think Farmer is so funny, and I would rock the hell out of the Farmer title. Lucio. His current one is DJ. I kept with the music theme because I think he's the only character in the game that is musically related. I suppose Sigma in some regard. I wanted to keep with that theme though, so 2 ideas here. Musician. It's simple. I don't think personally that one is as good as DJ, so my alternative would probably be something like Harmony. I think that's beautiful, and I think it works for him and a lot of what people would want to represent. Mauga. Missed opportunity here for something absolutely demonic and devastating. Imagine loading in. You see the enemy tank with the Juggernaut title on the enemy team. You're fucked. It's over. You could also take that word and go a more light-hearted approach if you really preferred that. You could have something like Brute or Hunk. The current title that he has sucks so bad. Deep Sea Raider has gotta go. For Mei, keeping it light-hearted, because she's a very light-hearted character, and the players that play her are very light-hearted, definitely, 100%. How about something like Popsicle? A little ice cream. She's very ice-related. Or perhaps even Icicle, if you want to keep it even more ice-related. Mercy's title is amazing. It was very difficult to try to improve upon Valkyrie. I think that's perfectly fitting for Mercy. So, I don't think it's as good as Valkyrie, but if I had to make a suggestion, I'm forced into that situation, I would say something simplistic, like Angel. Cliche, a little cringy maybe, but I think it gets the point across. For Moira, I think you should lean into the horribleness of the character. Monster. Abomination. Or perhaps even the fact that she's literally falling apart with decay. I had the most perfect suggestion from a friend for Orissa's title. Defender of Nimbani is great, don't get me wrong, but it is just too long. It's too long. So, Orissa, Warhorse. Come on, that's badass as fuck. Imagine being the warhorse of your team, leading everyone into battle. That's so cool. With Farah, I reckon you could keep it real simple. Her current one is Justicar. A lot of people don't even know what Justicar means. It's lame. Quite frankly, I don't think people want to be Justicar. So, Jet. That's fun. That's cool. That's fast. And that's something. Who doesn't like a jet? You see a jet. You're like, damn, that's a jet. That's sick. I'm not even into planes. Jets are badass as fuck. Ramatra. You could go two very different ways with this one, okay? Ramatra left his religious belief with the Iris. He's a heretic. Oh my good lord. But he's doing it for a good reason. He's a liberator. Oh my goodness. Both of those titles, they strike a very different feeling, but along the same vein when you think about it. With Reaper, you could do something fun. I mean, they've already done it with his Wraith, but I would personally choose a different word such as Ghost. It's real simple. Or perhaps even Phantom. I think it does a better job of getting the point across. With Reinhardt, I wanted to find a word that really portrayed him being unstoppable, without the word just being like brick. Reinhardt could be a very special word called bulwark. That is a disgusting term. That is like an unmovable blockade. I mean, hey, blockade. That kind of works, right? Or even keep it real simple with shield, if you wish. With Roadhog, you can make a little double entendre, if you will. A word that both emanates his piggy fashion and his rather large stomach. Porky is the word of choice. I thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was pretty unique. Sigma, a forgetful bloke, indeed. A title that represents that well, I don't think it's too hard to come up with. Alzheimer's. Sojourn was a difficult one to scheme for, but I feel like the best that I could personally come up with was a word along the lines of operative. I think the current one for Soldier 76 works well for her, so I wanted a similar word to vigilante. And I think operative works as her current status and the status she had when she was working with Overwatch. This title is more so fitting for Overwatch 1 Soldier rather than Overwatch 2, but Masked Man really portrays the idea of Soldier 76 as a character after Overwatch. And I really like that idea. I think it sounds better than Vigilante 2. I found a creative one for Sombra. Okay, you're gonna love it. Sombra, pirate. Whoa. Pirates are badass. Everyone loves pirates, but she's a pirate in the regards that she's an internet pirate, I think that's so fun and different and cool, and who wouldn't want to be a legendary pirate? Symmetra is embracing her perfect symmetry nature with no other word than perfection. Imagine being perfection. You could be clown.er, perfection. Torbjorn is my favorite title in the whole game. Engineer is so fitting for him. It's impossible to beat. So, the next best things would be to take that word and give it a synonym, such as builder or a tinkerer, if you will. Time jump is pretty cool, but it's kind of long and a little messy for Tracer. I would argue a better alternative would be something like speedster. A lot of Overwatch fans are also hero fans, and everyone knows what a speedster is in the hero universe. It could also be something like blinker. I mean, it's kind of basic, kind of lame. Maybe forget that one, actually. Venture has a little play on words, which I think is funny. Instead of their current one, minor. Fun. A little risky, but fun. That's minor, not minor. Widowmaker. We're leading in to the whorishness of the character. And no, the title is not like spandex or something. It's one shot, right? Because I hate that element of Widowmaker. It was so tempting to just put Winston down as monkey, right? Scientist is very fitting for him because he makes the whole point that I'm not a monkey, I'm a scientist. That's what I am. So, whilst I wanted to have monkey, I respected the decision not to have that. I did the next best thing though with Moon Gorilla. We love it, we love it. Wrecking Ball has a very similar one. A tool, very similar to a wrecking ball, is a bulldozer. And that's very fun and a little menacing too. The second biggest missed opportunity other than Diva, I'd argue, is Zarya. Particle Gunner sucks. It's terrible. What is Zarya known for? Weightlifting champion. A weightlifter. That's sick. That's so cool. Imagine being weightlifter. Legendary weightlifter. That's amazing. That's infinitely better than Particle Gunner. And finally, I ended on another one which was nigh impossible to improve. The Monk title has so much status, but if I had to change it, I would change it to something such as Guru. Something similar, something threatening, something with experience, but something which is fun whilst being all those things. Alright, thanks guys.